Ooh, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to Great Convos. Man, it's felt like it's been forever since we've been here. I'm your co-host, Roger Caesar, and that gentleman over there.
Hello, I'm Alexandre Matt. Check out our titles today. I'm the disagreeable guy, and Roger is
the agreeable guy.
Okay, that's a good name.
That's a great name. That's a great name. But hey, let's start it off like we always do, Alex. Whether you agree or disagree, you can always find Great Convos. We are so happy to be finally back. This is season 4. Can't believe we've made it this far, but we have had a lot of fun. We want to welcome everyone who is joining us. And hey, just for the fun's sake, can each person place where they are coming from? Please put in the chat where you are coming from. We want to know where you are in the world. You could have been anywhere, but you are with us today, and we appreciate you. Alex, talk to me, man.
Well, this is quite exciting. Remember at the end of last season, we were deciding, okay, when are we going to start season 4? And I'm like, oh, let's do it after summer. We don't need to do it right now. And Roger's like, no, it should be in August. I really want to start. And I'm like, I don't know, man. No, I'm being the disagreeable guy here, but Roger won and he convinced me. And this is one reason why we're starting this date is because next week is something pretty special that's going on. Roger, do you want to say to everyone where we will be next week, but especially like just tomorrow, where we're going?
Yep. Tomorrow, we are headed to California, specifically Anaheim, for the historical 100-year anniversary of Toastmasters International. It is their convention being held down there. We are extremely excited to be going. Not only that, but we are going to be, hold on, we're going to be doing the show there live. So we are hoping that some of those who are going to be in California will join us as we will be presenting Great Convos live on location.
Well, I'll disagree with you here because that's my role today. We won't be we will be in person. We will shoot our episode there, but it won't be live because I think
we will. We are going to do some live ones. We are going to do live ones. We will.
Okay, I don't think we agree on what live means. Right now, we are live because we can interact with the audience as they are watching us right now. This is live. Next week, what we are going to do is we're going to pre-record the episode, but we will be in person. So we're going to be together as we sometimes are when we are in the same venue.
That's right. Now, Alex, listen, a lot of things are going to be happening at the convention. You and I have both been to the conventions over the past, what have you been in Toastmasters now for 15 years, 16 years now? Somewhere around there?
Something like that, yeah. I think 17 this year.
So over time, you and I have been to our fair share of conferences. And the beauty of it is, number one, meeting all these different members from around the world who converge at the convention, and you get to meet some really incredible people. Number two is that we see some wonderful speeches that from members who have been working tirelessly throughout the year to get to this point, to be at the semifinals of the World Championship of Public Speaking. And of course, we are going to crown yet a new world champion of public speaking. But it all starts on, I believe, Thursday when we have the semifinals.
That's right. 4 semifinals, 2 at the same time. So we'll have to decide in which room to go. There are only 4 semifinals, 28 speakers in total. 2 of each semifinal will make it to the final. So a final with 8 contestants. It's going to be great. It's always such fun to see all the different topics and the different approaches also as
Mhm.
speakers. And one thing that
Yeah,
we'll be looking for, because we we're looking for great convos for our show, we're looking
right.
for some disagreements or from some sometimes difficult topics. We're going to discuss about this right now today, but we're going to
Hmm.
discuss more next week when we see the World Championship of Public Speaking. Roger,
Yeah.
that controversial or difficult or sensitive subjects have a place in the World Championship of Public Speaking?
Great question. And we've seen our fair share over the years, Alex. And if you have one, I want to ask our audience, our loyal listeners, think about a speech that you heard at the World Championship of Public Speaking or just in general, and it was a little controversial. Maybe it touched a nerve. Maybe it was something where you thought, is this a speech that you should be doing? I want you to think about that. And if you have any that you have in your mind right away, put it also in the chat. But yes, Alexander, I believe that there is a place, but I understand why sometimes it comes across as being a little taboo to do a speech at the World Championships. I think that a lot of people would love it if you come with something that is uplifting. But I do believe that our world, as it is right now, needs to have, especially when you have such a grand stage, to
Mm.
share a message, a valuable message. Sometimes I believe that, hey, this is the place where millions will be able to hear you. And we have seen quite a few, haven't we, over the years?
Yeah, we'll give an example. Actually, we have spoken about this particular examples more than once in the first 3 seasons of the Great
Mhm.
Convos podcast. And here, you know what? Kathy Draper has already mentioned
Yes.
it. Linda Marie Miller's "What Are You Pretending Not to Know?" So,
Yeah.
would you like to see a clip?
Yeah. Why not?
Let's see
You
just
can pull
one.
one up. Just a little clip on it. Because that was, hey, listen, Linda Marie, shout out to her. I know sometimes she listens to our podcast as well. We have talked about her on various occasions throughout the seasons here on Great Combos. But yes, she had two very controversial speeches, but they were powerful, so powerful.
Mhm.
Show them,
Here's
yeah,
just
show it.
just a few seconds
Yes.
of this speech.
Hey, I live in a very diverse neighborhood. All my neighbors are Black and they like me.
Mm,
Now, if you're not seeing
mm,
this, she then
mm,
holds a, a placard that says, "I've never invited them into my home."
mhm.
She, Linda Marie, approached the subject of racism,
Yes, she did.
and including racism that we might not know that we are guilty of.
Mhm.
Very difficult. And I know that she's mentioned that she has received hate mail and death
Mm.
threats after that.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow.
But for her, it was so
And yet,
important. She knew it was risky.
she stood her ground and came back 3 years later, and on that grand stage again, shared yet another very tough
That's right.
message.
Only 2 years later, and it was the world final again. Um, she gave a speech called "From the Inside Out." And if
Mhm.
I'm not mistaken, she changed which speech she was going to give the day before.
Wow.
So the day
Wow.
before was the business meeting, and there were some discussions about discrimination in the
Mm.
organization and what is discrimination, and there was wording which was going to be placed in the documents, the what is it called, the official rules
Right.
of Toastmasters International, which included discrimination according to, there's always the normal ones: race, ethnicity, language, origins, etc. And there was one that was added, was gender or gender identity.
Right.
And there was a
Right.
big debate at that business meeting around gender and identity, and a sizable minority voted against it. Now, for Linda Marie, for her, it was so obvious that we needed to vote for it that she wanted to
Mhm.
pass the message.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
following day, she did a different speech than what she had planned. So
Yeah.
she forgot about the trophy,
It's true. It's
and
true.
she
And
just wanted
sometimes
to send a message.
and sometimes that's what it is, Alex, is that you're not necessarily going there in that moment to win it all, but to share a very profound message that needs to be heard. And Jackie says, yeah, great courage. There it is right there.
Mhm.
I mean, this is what it's about, right? This is what it's about. Sometimes it's not about the trophy. It's the risk is bigger than the reward, so to speak. And it's necessary to share this message, especially when it's at an invaluable time, right? That period of time that is happening, especially when with Linda Marie, it was George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd. That was very controversial at the time, and this was on the cusp of that. And we've had other ones. So why don't we touch on some of the other ones that we have seen over the years in Toastmasters? And one of them that has come to my mind, and it has been there since I went to my very first championships, the World Championships of Public Speaking semifinals, which was in Las Vegas 2015. It is that man, Patrick Hammond, who had the speech, I fell in love with a prostitute. I don't know if there's anybody who is online with us now who has heard this speech. The minute I heard it, I knew he was not going for the win, but he had a powerful message talking about sex trafficking and how it has infiltrated our society so badly. And he did not care about winning. He just cared about delivering this message. And the title alone had everybody captivated right away.
Yeah. I think when we listen to the opening or to the introduction by the contest chair, first of all, the contest chair seems a little flustered just reading the title because he forgets to say it twice as we need to do. And then there's laughter, but probably unease at the same time in the audience. Like, oh, this is weird, especially when he starts talking and saying, "Oh, she had what I wanted, and there was just one way for me to get it." Right?
Yep.
We won't reveal more, but we will add these links. They are every speech that we're giving here. They are on YouTube, so we'll put those links in the show notes. And now here's an interesting question for you, Roger, because sometimes we hear not only you can't win with that speech. We can hear that, but also that is inappropriate.
Yes.
For the audience, they didn't come here to be preached at. So what do you think? Do you think that it's? I understand that we have a platform and we can use it to share something of importance for us, but at the same time, is that the right platform to do it?
I'm going to talk about it from a personal perspective, Alex. Back in, I believe it was 2013, I was competing and I made it all the way to the division level. Now, my speech was controversial. I watched, to make a long story short, I watched a show the previous week. It was about a young boy who was bullied in school, and then subsequently he took his life at home. And his mom was obviously horrified when she saw him hanging from the banister. And I wanted to talk about it, and I delivered it in our club contest. I moved on to the area. I moved on to the division. And when I got to the division, I lost. I lost that contest. And somebody came to me and said, it was too much. And have we heard this before? It was too much. Those two words, too much. And I said, well, what do you mean? This is something that's going on right now. It's happening now. We've got to make this people aware of what is happening with bullying. But that was what they kept saying. It's just too much. Maybe if you find some way of making humor, putting humor, and I couldn't find it. Right. So, I think that at times we have to recognize that, unfortunately, there are things here that we have to talk about. Are we going to continuously stay on the fence on it? Are we really putting ourselves out there as true communicators and delivering messages, real messages? Yes, it's great to have the nice, fluffy ones. And I agree. Those are beautiful to have. It leaves you wanting to go out there and probably do something very positive. But sometimes the messages have to really hit hard and you have to take it. And I think that makes us good communicators.
Right.
If you could do
and by the way, Roger, are you aware that the judge's ballot now gives more points for what they call speech value? It used to be 15 points. Now it's 25 points with fewer points on the other lines. So
I agree.
So speeches that are hard hitting and maybe sometimes even difficult to hear now might have more chances of making it to the top.
Yeah.
Jackie made an interesting comment, a good question. So if we ask we don't want to hear controversial things. We don't want to be questioned in our beliefs here. Jackie asks, what did they come for then? Just entertainment?
Good. I like that, Jackie. Thank you. Now, I don't have access.
That audience members Alex, and judges can ask themselves if they think, oh, that's too much.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you have to have an array of speeches when it comes to, especially when you're on this grand stage. I consider Toastmasters to be the Olympic. We just seen the Olympics happen recently, but I consider Toastmasters International, when it comes to the World Championship of Public Speaking, to be the Olympics of speaking. And with regards to that, you are going to have the most powerful speakers, messages, and some of them are going to be controversial. Now, are we going to be upset about that? Or are we going to see it from the perspective that at least this person was courageous enough to talk about something that is happening in our world?
Right.
They may not be going, as Kathy said, it may not be about the trophy at all. It's just, hey, this message needs to be talked about, and this is the biggest stage to do it.
And if you're able to do it as a great communicator, you can give a message that is difficult, that it certainly is not that is not unanimous in its reach. If you're still able to communicate it effectively, that makes you a great speaker.
Yes, it does.
Now
I want to touch on some other ones that we have here, Alex. Bring up the next one from 2016. There we go. The right words.
The Right Words in 2016 by Thien, Trang, Nguyen, Phan. Here's a clip to give you an idea of the subject and how difficult it could be to listen to.
Recognized as such. But did you know that 1 in 4 women will experience domestic abuse in their lifetime? It means that all of us, yes, you, I, and you who paid a lot of money to watch this at home, all of us at one point will either be personally affected by domestic abuse or know somebody who is.
Now, let me just skip to another sentence here. So it's just talking about emotional abuse.
Emotional abuse. And why couldn't I tell her that he is actually trying to isolate her each time he says that she has too many friends on Facebook or she goes out too much? It would be so much simpler, wouldn't it, if he had hit her or threatened her or...
Wow.
Right.
Another tough subject. Domestic abuse put on the grand stage right here for everyone to hear. All right.
And it's a subject
and everybody, please note again, Alex, we will put all of the links. So if you have never heard these speeches, we will send them to you so you can watch them for yourself and have that conversation with others.
That's right. It can be a conversation starter. So what what the speaker did not mention, she gave the statistics of 1 in 4 women are victims. She did not mention, but I think it's subtly mentioned, that there are probably some people here in the audience now who are the perpetrators, who are guilty of being on the other side. They may know it, they may not know it, but that wasn't the point of her speech. But you know, it can hit hard. It can maybe make people think about, wait, what am I doing? Maybe I'm guilty of this, and without even knowing it. So it can really dig into some people sometimes if we go into these difficult subjects. And as Suzanne mentions here, maybe Toastmasters should be a platform to discuss and see other points of view.
It is definitely something to talk about for sure. 100%. Let's get to the last one. I know we're running a little behind, but I think it's important that we bring the last one. 2017, yes. John Andrews, who is actually from our area, not in our district, but within Ontario. And he had an amazing semifinal speech that got him into the finals that year. But this was his final speech. My life as an underground commodities dealer. Now, it caught the attention of the audience. I was there live to see this one. It caught the attention. But there were a lot of things that he said in that speech. And I know he was trying to be very comical and a lot of funny moments in it, but there were some things that were very touchy in that particular speech. Stuff that if you have just lost somebody, you did not want to hear.
Hold on, Roger. Let's just give a little more background context. My life as an underground commodities dealer. Now, we assume that he's talking about being a drug dealer. And in fact, that's what he leads us to believe. Now, sorry, you won't be surprised now when you see the speech, but he lets us believe that he's a drug dealer for the first maybe 2 minutes until he reveals that he is a funeral director. Underground commodities dealer, right? So it gets a huge laugh. And then he talks about death in a very humorous way. Continue, Roger.
Yeah, and a lot of the things that he was doing, a lot of one-liners that were funny, that had the audience laughing. But when you were live in the audience, there were some people who were feeling very uncomfortable with some of the things that he was saying. And you could hear a couple murmurs here and there throughout the audience of parts that he was saying that may have come across being very distasteful in a lot of people's minds with things. And I'm not going to give it away. Again, you can watch it. But another different version of a controversial speech. He probably was trying to make it funny and an enjoyable way to talk about death. But some of the stuff that he used, some of the content might have been a little too much.
Right. So he did exaggerate some parts, like, and I assume that funeral directors generally do not do this.
Yes,
but for example, he says, "Oh, I just met a young widow, and I wanted to impress her, so I took the flowers off a casket and gave it to her." So I don't think that funeral directors really do this. It's just a joke. Now, in our speeches, do we want to say things that are untrue just for the sake of a laugh? I don't know. That could be that's up to discussion, I suppose. But he made his point. Now, when I was listening to this speech again just yesterday, and I was thinking, as you said, it's a bunch of one-liners. It's just to make us laugh. What's the point? And then when he makes his point, I'm like, oh, he just proved his point. Not through the story, but through his actions and through his words and through the audience's reaction. I urge you to go listen to that speech, because I was trying to figure out, how could you make it so that it's like, quote, more acceptable and so that it fits more. But for his message, I think it works beautifully.
Yeah, but was it too late? That's what I think I have a problem with this. The message come too late, right? It didn't come till, 3 minutes left in his speech. Then he finally told the message. I thought that maybe if he had probably woven in a little earlier, then we could see where he was going. But again, it just became one-liners throughout the whole speech. So good on him for making people laugh and taking a subject that normally is very dark and turning it into a humorous speech. But it was controversial.
Yeah, but his message came across. So Roger, of course, if we were to work on this speech or any other, there's always room for improvement. There's always room to make a speech more effective to get the message across. So of course, John could have done some changes to make it even better. But I think probably with the time that he had and with the audience that he had at that time, I think it was brilliantly done.
Whether we agree or disagree, we can always find great convos, right?
That's right. Sometimes we can wonder.
Oh, man.
Sometimes we can wonder. Maybe we've all become too sensitive, as Jackie mentioned. Now, Roger, why don't we touch a little bit on more precisely what we're going to be looking for in the coming days at the International Convention?
Well, I think this is why we did this entire conversation today, was because Alex and I have decided that when we go to the convention this year, we're going to sit in and we're going to really take a look at all of these semifinal speeches and really take the time to see if there is anything that is controversial and bring it back to you, our audience, and talk about it. Anything that we found that was outstanding that maybe just didn't make the cut. So it's not so much about the winners this time. It's about the others who put a message out there that we felt, hey, that was really good. Maybe if they had did this or tweaked this, it could have been a winner. But we want to touch on those ones. We want to see if there's anything that will be coming out of this particular historical 100-year anniversary of Toastmasters International that is controversial. And of course, we'll be looking to see who will be crowned world champion of public speaking this year.
And we can also watch to see if there may be some difficult subjects that have an impact on the judging. We will be unofficially judging as well, so we will have our favorites also. So we'll give you a full report on that later, maybe as extra content on our Facebook group, LinkedIn page, and now YouTube channel.
Yes, we are on YouTube as well. For those who don't know, we are on YouTube as well, so you could stay connected with us through all 3 social medias.
Now let's give the before last word to Jackie, who's always a loyal listener. Maybe, says Jackie, maybe Toastmasters should also be a platform for bringing people together, like you two do for. Sorry, some words are blocked on my screen here. Let me start over.
You two do confronting difficult.
Let's start over the phrase so that it makes sense. Maybe Toastmasters should also be a platform for bringing people together, like you two do, by confronting difficult topics, but offering sound, positive solutions.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you so much.
When we have the privilege of the platform, we can use it to advance not only things that are important to us, but that we believe are important for the world. We can make the world slightly better each time that we speak.
Couldn't say it any better myself, my friend. For all of our loyal listeners, thank you again for joining us. We are looking forward to seeing some of you in Anaheim. And as we always say here, whether you agree or disagree, you can always find great convos. Season 4 has begun.
See you soon.